Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I hope all of you are fine. In the previous lecture we have finished the topic of receptors and their properties. In today's lecture we are going to start with a new topic, that is the topic of somatic sensations. And in this lecture we are going to learn to define and classify the sensations, and we are going to understand the somatic sensations. And while discussing the somatic sensations in today's lecture, we are going to talk about the touch, tickle and itch. So first we are going to learn what the sensation is. Sensation is basically becoming aware of a specific stimulus, or in other words we can say it is the conscious perception of a stimulus. So sensations can be divided into two basic types. There are two types of sensations: somatic sensations and the special sensations. Somatic sensations we are going to discuss in detail in the topic of nervous system physiology, while special sensations will be discussed later on. Now the question is, why the special sensations are called so? Why they are called as special sensations? Special sensations are called special because they have specialized sense organs in which the receptors are present. So receptors for these sensations are present in special sense organs. And these special sensations include the sense of hearing, the receptors for which are present in the inner ear, and it also includes the sensation of taste, the receptor for which are present in the oral cavity, mainly on the surface of the tongue. Smell is also a special sensation, and the receptor for smell are present in the nasal cavity. The upper part of the nasal cavity contains the olfactory membrane or the olfactory mucosa, which has the receptor cells for the sense of smell. Then sight, for which the photoreceptors are the receptors, and the photoreceptors are present in the eyeball. And equilibrium, and the receptors for equilibrium are present in the inner ear, along with the receptors for hearing. And both these together form the vestibulocochlear apparatus. Vestibulocochlear apparatus is present in the inner ear, and it is responsible for the sensation of sense of hearing and maintenance of equilibrium. So this was about the special sensations. Detail of the special sensation we will discuss later on separately. The objective of our lecture is to discuss the somatic sensations. So now we move on to the somatic sensations. Now somatic sensations are general sensations, and there is no special sense organ which contains the receptors. The receptors are distributed widely either in the skin or the subcutaneous tissue, or in the mucous membrane, or in the deeper tissue. So in case of somatic sensations, there are no separate receptor organs present. Instead, the receptors for the somatic sensations are widely distributed throughout the body. The somatic sensations can be further classified into three types: the mechanoceptive sensations, mechanoceptive somatic sensations, the thermoceptive somatic sensations, and nociceptive sensations. So again I am repeating that the somatic sensations are classified into three types: the mechanoceptive sensations, the thermoceptive, and the nociceptive sensations. The mechanoceptive sensations are caused by the mechanical displacement. Stimuli which are mechanical in nature give rise to the mechanoceptive sensations. The mechanoceptive sensations further include two types: the tactile sensations and the sense of position. The sense of position is also called as proprioceptive sensation. The sense of position is also called as proprioceptive sensation. Tactile sensation is of different types. The tactile sensation is of touch, pressure, vibration, tickle and itch. So we can say that tactile sensation include touch, pressure, vibration, tickle and itch. While position or the proprioceptive sensation is of two types: sense of static position and the kinesthetic sensation. So kinesthetic sensation is the becoming aware of the change in the position of the body. So here it is written as rate of change. It means the kinesthetic position sense. So static position sense is there and there is kinesthetic position sense. So we are going to talk about these sensations in detail one by one. So these are the types of the mechanoceptive sensations. Now the other type of the somatic sensations are the thermoceptive and nociceptive. Thermoceptive sensations are responsible to detect the heat and cold, while nociceptive sensation is to detect the pain, and pain can be of two types: the fast pain and the slow pain. Nociceptive sensation is the pain sensation and it can be of two types: fast pain and the slow pain. And this pain sensation is activated by any factor which is damaging to the tissue. Pain sensation is activated, it is produced by any factor which result in tissue damage. So these are the types of the somatic sensations. Now there is another way to classify the somatic sensation. They can also be classified as exteroceptive, proprioceptive, visceral and deep sensations. So this is another way to classify these somatic sensations: exteroceptive, proprioceptive, visceral and deep sensations. Now exteroceptive sensations include those which arise from the surface of the body. That's why they are called like extero. Extero means outside or the surface. So exteroceptive sensations include those which arise from the surface of the body, while proprioceptive sensation is related to the physical state of the body, like sense of position, tendon and muscle sensation and sensation of equilibrium. So I am repeating again that proprioceptive sensation, it is related to the physical state of the body, like position of the body, then the tendon and the muscle sensation, sensation of equilibrium. So these are proprioceptive sensation. Visceral sensation are those which arise from the deep viscera or the internal organ. By visceral sensation we mean the sensations arising from the internal organs of the body, while deep sensations are those for which the receptors are present in the deeper tissue, and these sensations arise from the fascia, bone, muscles. So these can be deep pain sensation, pressure and vibration. So this is another way to classify the somatic sensations. Again I am repeating: exteroceptive, proprioceptive, visceral and deep. Exteroceptive sensations arise from the surface of the body. The receptors are present superficially. Proprioceptive sensations are related to the position of the body and they are related to the muscle and tendon sensation and the sensation of equilibrium, while visceral sensations are those which arise from the internal organs of the body, and deep sensations arise from the fascia, bones and the muscles, and these can include the pain, pressure and vibration sensations. Now we are going to talk in detail about the mechanoceptive sensations. And you all must be now clear that what are mechanoceptive sensations. In mechanoceptive sensation, first we are going to talk about the tactile sensation. Now tactile sensations, you all know that include the sensation of touch, pressure, tickle and itch, and vibration. These sensations are detected by the mechanoreceptors present in the skin and subcutaneous tissue, and these receptors can be encapsulated receptors as well as non-encapsulated receptors. So the mechanoreceptors include the hair follicle receptors, Meissner's corpuscles, Merkel's discs, Ruffney's end organs, Pacinian corpuscles, and free nerve endings. We have talked about all these receptors in detail in our previous lectures. So mechanoreceptors are responsible to detect the tactile sensations, and these can be encapsulated as well as non-encapsulated free nerve endings. From encapsulated receptors, the signals are sent via A beta fibers. From encapsulated receptors, the signals are sent through A beta fibers, while from the free nerve endings, the impulses are carried by type A delta and type C fibers. Type A delta and type C fibers, which carry the impulses from the free nerve endings, which are example of non-encapsulated receptors. Now central processes of these nerve fibers, either they are A beta fibers or A delta and type C fibers. They are either going to join the dorsal column or they are going to join the anterior spinothalamic tract. So in the spinal cord we have learned that there are ascending pathways present which carry the signals from the periphery to the central nervous system. So for each type of sensation there are different pathways. So these sensations, mechanoceptive sensations, are either transmitted through the dorsal column or the anterior spinothalamic tract in the spinal cord, and detail of this we are going to discuss later on. Now what is touch sensation? Touch is basically a contact with an object which produces a slight indentation of the receptor membrane. It is the contact, it's a feeling of contact with an object, and this contact with the object, it produces a very slight indentation of the receptor membrane. Touch can be light or it can be crude touch. It can be light touch or it can be crude touch. So light touch is well localized and it is perceived by encapsulated receptors, while the crude touch is non-discriminative, or you can say that it is not well localized and it is perceived by the free nerve endings. Again I am repeating that touch is of two types, light touch and the crude touch. Light touch is well localized and is perceived by encapsulated receptors, and crude touch is non-discriminative, it is not well localized and it is perceived by the free nerve endings. Sustained touch is known as pressure. Pressure is basically the sustained touch. So in this diagram, in this slide you can see the touch sensation, how to elicit it. This is how to elicit the touch sensation. We can elicit it by using a cotton wool. Now what is tactile localization? Tactile localization is the capability, or we can say it is the ability to localize the area where the touch stimulus is applied. Again I am repeating that tactile localization is the capability to localize the area where the touch stimulus is applied. Now this capability of tactile localization, it varies in different parts of the body. Although touch has well developed tactile localization, but the degree of tactile localization, it varies in different parts of the body. So lips and fingers have the best developed tactile localization. So maximum developed tactile localization is in the lips and in the fingers. Now coming to the 2-point tactile discrimination. 2-point tactile discrimination is the capability to perceive or distinguish the two tactile stimuli separately when they are close together, when they are near to each other. So again I am repeating that 2-point tactile discrimination is the ability to perceive or distinguish the two near points separately. 2-point tactile discrimination is a function of the Meissner's corpuscles and Krause and bulbs, or we can say that the receptors for 2-point tactile discrimination are the Meissner's corpuscles and the Krause and bulbs. Different areas of the body have different 2-point tactile discrimination, different capacity of the 2-point tactile discrimination. The fingertips, tongue, lips and the palms have high tactile discrimination, have well developed 2-point tactile discrimination, and here the 2 points which are separated by a distance of only 1 to 2 millimeter can be perceived as two separate points. So minimum distance at which two stimuli can be perceived as two is 1 to 2 millimeter on the fingertips, tongues, lips and palm. So these areas are said to have highly developed tactile discrimination or highly developed 2-point tactile localization, while certain areas of the body are less sensitive to 2-point tactile discrimination. And an example is back, where it is least back is least sensitive to 2-point tactile discrimination, and the distance can be as much as 30 to 70 millimeter. So if the two stimuli are separated by a distance of 30 to 70 millimeter, they will be perceived as two separate points or stimuli, while those stimuli which are separated by a distance less than this range, they will not be perceived as two, and instead they will be perceived as one. So this is called as a poorly developed tactile discrimination, because the distance is very wide, while in the fingertips, tongue and lips and palm we have well developed tactile discrimination, because distance between the two stimuli is very less, which can be perceived as two separate points. So here is the diagram to explain you the concept of 2-point tactile discrimination, and in this diagram we can also see that 2-point tactile discrimination is it can be checked or assessed by using the aesthesiometer. This is the apparatus or the instrument which is used to determine the 2-point tactile discrimination, or we can use a compass. So here you can see these are two stimuli, two separate stimuli. If in the fingertips or in the palms, the distance between the two stimuli is only 1 to 2 millimeter, and they will be perceived as two, while at the back the distance which is required is at least 30 to 70 millimeter. If the two stimuli are 30 to 70 millimeter apart, then they will be perceived as two. Now this is because of the fact that it depends upon the number of receptors present in a particular area. If a greater number of receptors is present, then there is highly developed 2-point tactile discrimination. If the receptors are less and they are wide apart, then the 2-point tactile discrimination is poorly developed, as is the case of the skin of the back. So that was about the 2-point tactile discrimination. Now talking about stereognosis. Now stereognosis is the ability to identify the form of the object with touch. So touch is the sensation which enables a person to recognize the form and of the objects even with closed eyes. By touching and feeling, we can determine, we can identify the objects, their forms. This ability is called as stereognosis. So I am repeating that because of touch sensation, even with closed eyes, we are able to identify the form of the objects, and this ability to identify the forms of the object is called as stereognosis. And the blind people are able to read Braille because of stereognosis. So they read the Braille by touching the letters and the words over the Braille by fingers, and by touching they recognize the form and they are able to read. So blind people are able to read Braille by stereognosis, and this stereognosis is because of our ability to recognize the objects by touching them, and we are able to recognize with closed eyes. So this was about the stereognosis. Now coming to the tickle and itch. Tickle and itch is also a tactile sensation, as we have discussed in the beginning. Now tickle is a light touch and it is a pleasurable sensation. It is a pleasurable sensation which results in laughter. On the other hand, the itch is an annoying sensation. So tickle is pleasurable sensation, it results in laughter, while itch is annoying sensation. Both of these tactile sensations are caused by repetitive mechanical stimulation. The repetitive mechanical stimulation causes the non-encapsulated mechanoreceptors to be activated. So the receptors which are responsible to carry tickle and itch are non-encapsulated mechanoreceptors. Chemical stimuli can also cause itch, like histamine and bradykinin. So chemicals can also result in itching. An example are histamine and bradykinin. When an insect crawls on the skin, first there is tickle and this is followed by itch. Itch is also known as pruritus. Itch is also known as pruritus, and itch produces a desire to scratch. It produces a desire to scratch. Scratching in turn relieves the itch in two ways. First, by scratching, the irritant stimulus is removed. Like if there is an insect which is the cause of itching, you will scratch and the stimulus will be removed. So first way by which scratching relieve the itching is by removing the irritant stimulus. Second is that severe scratching causes the pain sensation to be produced. Severe scratching causes the stimulation of the pain receptors and the pain sensation is produced, and pain sensation or the pain impulses are going to inhibit the itch impulses in the spinal cord by lateral inhibition. So in simple words, you can remember that when pain sensation is produced due to severe itching, pain signals are going to inhibit the itch signals or itch impulses. So itching will be suppressed. So these are the two ways by which scratching inhibits or it relieves the itching. From the mechanoreceptors, type C fibers are responsible to carry the signals to the spinal cord. We just talked that the mechanoreceptors, non-encapsulated type, are involved in detection of both itch and tickle, and from the non-encapsulated mechanoreceptors, the signals are carried by type C fibers. These type C fibers in the spinal cord join the ventral spinothalamic tract. So in the spinal cord, ventral spinothalamic tract is responsible to carry the sensation of itch and tickle to the central nervous system. So I will stop here. We have talked about the tactile sensations, and of the tactile sensation we talked about the sense of touch, tickle and itch. In the next lecture we are going to talk about the sense of vibration, sense of position, and then we are going to start with the nociceptive sensation. So that's all for today. I hope you understand the lecture. Thank you for listening.